I'm live. Oh my gosh. It's been a long time since I've done a live video. It's just scary. What could come out of my mouth? What could happen? You have to stay tuned to find out. But there is plenty happening right now. I tell you, there is some breaking news happening right now, and I am just floored by this. The Tarrant Appraisal District, of course, is having a board meeting this Friday, and they came out with their original agenda, and it barely scratched the surface. It was like a cut and paste version of the agenda that they had on their June 30th board meeting, and it was vague and insufficient, and it just didn't do much of anything. And to top it off, all of the issue that was discussed in the last board meeting, it was basically resolved, and it was a much appreciated symbolic move, but there wasn't any really material moving of the needle. The complaint still exists. Randy Armstrong, Jeff Law still have their jobs. No consequences have happened. And when the appraisal district came out with their agenda for this Friday's meeting, it was very clear that they intended on not addressing the whole complaint and this whole issue at all. They were not going to update us on the investigation that they said was going to happen in the last meeting. Last meeting, they said, hey, we're going to do an internal investigation and we're going to report on it in the meeting on August 12th. Well, when this agenda came out, that was not on there at all. In fact, there was nothing on the public open session version of the agenda that said that they were going to even touch the investigation. They were only going to have this closed door session, and it was going to be a very limited discussion. They weren't going to be able to discuss personnel matters. And so at about the same time, I got word from some reporters that the appraisal district hired a public relations firm to try and kind of clean this whole mess up, I guess. I don't know. They just hired the public relations firm. At the same time, they're not putting this on the agenda. It looks very bad. And it makes me think, why in the world are they spending money on public relations? Why don't they just make the right decisions and do the right thing? Well, I can't answer that question for you, but those are the decisions that they made. So anyway, needless to say, when that agenda came out, I was very disturbed by it and just thought this is definitely the wrong path. I was very concerned, and I was sad for the citizens of Tarrant County because you guys put out a lot of effort. We had hundreds of people show up at the last meeting, and so many people have been so active in supporting what we're doing, what I'm doing. And the overarching message of this whole thing is, if the appraisal district is willing to do this to a private citizen because I'm helping another person by helping them protest free of charge just to help, then if they're going to do this to me, and the board of directors is just going to sit there and turn a blind eye to everything going on, and the chief appraiser is just going to let it happen and there's no repercussions, then who are they going to come after next? The message was to me, all it's going to take is for somebody else to become very effective at protesting, and you're going to end up on Randy Armstrong's naughty list. And before you know it, you're going to have to deal with Armstrong coming after you. So anyway, so this agenda came out, the public relations firm was hired, and it hit my radar on a level 10. And I said, oh my gosh, we've got to do something about this. And because the next meeting was scheduled for November, and I thought, they're trying to kick this can down the road. They're going to wait until this becomes old news, just like any other news story you've seen, where it's like, we're not talking about the Ukraine war quite as much. We're not talking about the Afghan pullout as much. There are these news stories that reach a level 10 at a certain point. And then if you just let enough time go by, the public interest starts to kind of go down. And I thought, wow, this is what the appraisal district is trying to do. And so I thought, you know what, we need to just hold them accountable as best we can. And so I put together a Facebook post and said, hey, here's what's going on. Here's what I'm seeing, and we need to take action. And then I sent out an email and said, okay, what we need to do is we need to email the people on the board. And this is something that I have not done up to this point. I haven't encouraged anybody to email folks on the board at the appraisal district because I just thought, you know, I have hope in this board. This board, I want to give them a chance to do the right thing. And it became clear when they released that first agenda that they were not going to do the right thing, and they were going to try and kick the can down the road and sweep it under the rug by hiring this public relations firm and on and on. Well, we released their email addresses. You guys started emailing them like crazy. And I just found out that they have revised the agenda. And check this out. I want to show you what it looks like. Before I do, I just want to say this. This is a very clear message to me that they respond to eyeballs and accountability. And that's a human thing. And I don't want to demonize the board of directors. This is a relatively new issue for them. I brought it to them in May. I think it was May 12th is the first time that they were made aware. And it seems like a lot of time has passed since then. But, you know, every interaction we've had, they've done something. I would have liked to see them do a lot more by this point. But they've revised the agenda, and it gives me hope again that this board will hopefully do the right thing and will listen to you guys, because that's what's been happening so far. They have listened to you guys. They've revised the agenda. And what that tells me is if you want the right thing to happen at Friday's board meeting, you have to show up. You have to spread the word, post on Facebook, say, hey, show up to the appraisal district. Now, here's a big caveat or a big change. The meeting is now scheduled for 10 a.m. on Friday and not 9 a.m. And the reason this has happened is because they had to change the agenda. So they delayed the meeting to abide by all the rules. They have to post these agendas 72 hours in advance. And so that's what's happened. All right. So let me find where that is. I'm going to share my screen and show you what I got. So I'm going to share my screen and hopefully... Here we go. I'm going to share this other screen. Okay. So one thing that I did, I was just curious about the timing that they came out with this, their first agenda. I looked at how many days passed, from the time they posted to the time of the meeting. And they've had a really strong streak for a long time that they've given several days, almost a week notice. They always posted on a Friday. Well, this time they posted it on a Monday, and then they've reposted it. And that revised agenda was just reposted today. So now it's just 72 hours almost exactly is the lead time on that. So first, I want to show you the first agenda that they posted. Let's see. Here's a little timeline where, check this out. Here's all the stuff. I've had to compile all the evidence so that I can properly defend myself. But here's their original agenda. Oh, whoops. I wasn't showing you that because that was on the other screen. Sorry about that. All right, here you go. Here's the original agenda, and let me show you my problem with it. In fact, I want to show you not just that agenda, but I want to show you the June 30th agenda. Okay, boom. And then we'll get to the new agenda, but it's exciting news, and it tells me we know what works now. Let's see. I'm going to increase the size of this if I can. You control and the plus sign. There you go. All right. So this is the agenda that was scheduled. This is the original agenda. Now this agenda has been revised, but I just want to show you this. This is the way the agenda appeared. You have this executive session. That's like a secret portion of the meeting where it's closed door. You don't get to see what's going on. You don't get to hear what's going on. And they have this for a reason. This is the way personnel items should be dealt with, because even if somebody deserves to be fired, they don't deserve to, have their name smeared. They don't deserve to have all their dirty laundry aired out in public. That needs to happen behind closed doors. And you can politely fire somebody and allow somebody to walk out the door with some amount of dignity so they can go find a new job, whatever. That's the way what you're supposed to do in executive sessions. And so here they have this weird and vague language. All of the first part of this is just up until this point, this is all just boilerplate baloney that they put in there to just kind of demonstrate that the Opens Meeting Act doesn't apply to this issue. Okay. And so it's going to be everything after this boilerplate language is this right here. And this is what the agenda used to say. It used to say something about issues related to a June 13th letter from my attorney, Frank Hill, to the members of the Tarrant Appraisal District Board of Directors, and other issues related to the TDLR complaint filed against Mr. Hill's client. Of course, I'm Mr. Hill's client, but it doesn't name me in there. It doesn't name anything about any of the TAD personnel. It would be illegal for them to go into this closed session and have a meeting regarding personnel issues. And so when I saw this, I thought, okay, this is an obvious sign that they are not going to hold the employees there at the appraisal district accountable. They're not even going to have a discussion on whether they should hold them accountable. And so that hit my radar. And then if you just scroll through here, you can see return to open session. And then you have all this other stuff. No, there's no other agenda item relating to the TDLR complaint or my issue or the conduct of the employees at the appraisal district going after private citizens because they don't like the outcome of a protest, essentially. So check it out. Here's the great news. I just got this agenda. Now this says that it was posted. Oh no, this is the old one. This was the one for the June 30th meeting. See, it was posted on the 24th. And June 30th was the meeting, and you can see this identical language. They basically just cut and paste this entire paragraph onto this agenda. So let's get rid of that. I was just demonstrating. That's what happened on the last agenda. Okay, so here's the one that's been revised, and you can see it was posted this morning. That's well after we posted the Facebook post and got the emails rolling and everything, and then all of a sudden they woke up. So let's see here. So now here's what we have. Agenda item number 7. This is in their executive session. What this is saying is here you have that same boilerplate language until you get to this point. And then right here is the point that's relevant. It says issues related to various complaints filed by a Tarrant Appraisal District employee with the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulations. Bingo. That's exactly what we need to see addressed. It has nothing to do with me. This whole issue is not about me. It's about the conduct of the appraisal district employees and what the appraisal district is willing to tolerate in relation to how the employees target and try to silence private citizens, not Chandler Crouch, but private citizens in general. Anybody protesting. Is this kind of conduct allowed? Are they allowed to use taxpayer resources to do it? Are they allowed to gain information without filing an open records request like a private citizen would if they're going to file a complaint just like a private citizen would? Well, none of that happened. That's the conduct that's under question. And here we can see agenda item 8. They're going to address it. And man, that gives me a lot of hope that number one, that you guys have been vocal and they are listening. And number 2, that I have hope in this board for this agenda item to change. What that means is there had to be 2 board members approve this. And so I don't know who those 2 board members were. I have a hint that one of them, judging by the conduct of Mr. Rich Diot at the last meeting, he was interested in hearing what every single person had to say. And he seems to be somebody that is interested in pursuing truth. Now, what ends up happening with that is another story, but there had to be another person on that board. I'm thinking it might have been Jungus Jordan. I know that he's a big reason why the last meeting even happened at all. They called that special session just to deal with this issue and just to respond to my attorney's demands or requests. And so Jungus Jordan might be the other person that understands that these personnel matters have to be dealt with. Tony Pompa hadn't said a whole lot. J.R. Martinez hadn't said a whole lot. Catherine Wildman has said a whole lot. But she, and a lot of it, honestly, it seemed a little defensive, a little abrasive. But at the same time, in the meeting, not this most recent meeting, but the one before that, she was actually the only person to acknowledge that obviously the Tarrant Appraisal District was implicated in this complaint. And she also recognizes that there's greater implications than just this one issue. So who knows? Look, here's the thing. There's plenty to be upset about. What I'm focused on is number 1, what is moving the needle here? And number 2, I want to have hope. That's it. I'm looking for healing, and I'm looking for moving in a positive direction. But I know this: it's not going to happen if they think nobody's watching. We have to let our voice be heard. We have to let our presence be known. The next appraisal district board meeting is this Friday at 10 a.m. They've moved it an hour because they had to post this agenda, and it had to be up there 72 hours since they revised it. That delayed everything. Let's go here. The next item here says reconvene to open session for possible. Okay, well, I'm sorry. I totally buried the lead. Here's the lead right here. Deliberation on the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, and to hear a complaint or charge against an officer or employee related to the chief appraiser's handling of various complaints filed by a Tarrant Appraisal District employee with the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation. Whoa, Nelly. Holy moly. Here's the thing. We went from nothing being on the agenda to the whopper of all whoppers being on the agenda. If they see it fit to not only fire Randy Armstrong, but to fire Jeff Law, they have the legal ability to be able to have that discussion and then come out, of their board meeting and make a decision and vote on it in public. Okay. That's something that is now something that they can do, because then they reconvene to the open session, which means public session, for possible further discussion and possible action on items discussed in the executive session on issues related to various complaints filed by the Tarrant Appraisal District employee with TDLR, and including the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment duties, discipline, or dismissal of the chief appraiser. Woo, dog. All right. There's other stuff on this agenda that actually changed. There's all sorts of interesting stuff going on. Let's go here. I'm going to stop sharing and just come back to you. Look, here's the thing that I know. I know that this wouldn't have happened if you guys wouldn't have shown up. Hold on, my camera's out of focus. What's up with that? There it goes. I don't know. Whatever. Nothing would have happened if you guys wouldn't have taken notice, contacted the media. The media responded. We had some great media coverage. Every single TV station, Star Telegram, Fort Worth Weekly, the Texas Scorecard, and the Fort Worth Weekly were like neck and neck in breaking this story. We had some citizen journalists, Manuel Mata, Thomas Torlin-Kelsey, Joe Bennett has been behind the scenes from way before I got started, just helping everybody understand what's going on with the property tax code. We have, I can't discount the members of the board that are working behind the scenes to make sure that justice happens. All of this stuff is happening, but none of it would have any power, or nobody would care at all if it weren't for you paying attention, showing up, being the catalyst for this whole thing. If you weren't sending emails, if you weren't posting on Facebook and sharing, nothing would be happening. And that's the thing that I keep coming back to. What if this would have happened to you? What if this would have happened to somebody that you love, and somebody that doesn't represent 28,000 people? What would happen if this would have happened to somebody that doesn't represent so many people and doesn't have the ability to turn on a camera and have hundreds of people, if not thousands of people, watch this thing and say, you know what, I'm going to take action because I see that that's not right. And I don't want to think about what would happen. All I know is we have an opportunity now to improve the system, to bring to the surface the ugliness that's going on here at our local appraisal district. And I believe it's also representative of a lot of ugliness that goes on in a lot of appraisal districts, because here's the thing. There are good employees at these appraisal districts that deserve better. Me and you as citizens, we deserve better. We deserve to be able to get a fair shake. We need those people to understand that they are public servants and they're here to value properties, and that's it. Not go attack somebody, not cast judgment, and not laugh somebody out of the room. They need to give consideration to provide a helping hand and a little education to help people understand what they need to do to make sure that their property is valued accurately. That's it. This isn't a Democrat or Republican thing. This is a citizen thing. This is a taxpayer thing. This is something that we have to stand up to make sure happens. Make sure we got to stand up and make sure it ends well for the good of the whole system, and that's it. So show up Friday, 10 a.m. Got the board meeting. Rumor has it they're even going to let us use the toilet there. Last time they locked everybody out and made us all sit out in the sun for 5 hours. I had to run down to 7-Eleven and use the toilet because that's what they told us we had to do. This time they'll actually let the elderly in. They'll let the disabled in. We'll use the toilets and watch the meeting live. They're moving it into their big room, so there's going to be plenty of seating. They're going to have overflow and overflow for the overflow. Is what I've heard. So please come out Friday at 10 a.m. to I think it's Handley Ederville Rd. I think it's 2600 Handley Ederville Rd, something like that. Anyway, I could talk forever. I've talked for 20 minutes. I see people watching, and I'm like, just get excited. I want to tell you, I got to go home and eat dinner here in a second, but it is an absolute dream come true to be able to do what I'm doing. I prayed and asked God to allow me to fulfill a purpose that's greater than myself and to be able to represent so many people. And I don't like the fact that these problems exist. I don't like feeling like I have to fight to protect my name, that sort of thing. But to be able to have an opportunity to be able to improve the system and to do something to help people is literally a dream come true. And I've already had conversations to be able, a meeting where I had to go down to Austin, met with state representatives, lawmakers, the most influential people in property tax reform. And they said, hey, tell us what you think about X, Y, and Z. And so those are all things that, if it serves that purpose, this is totally worth it. And I'm totally happy to do this, but it's an honor to represent you and serve you. I'm going to go ahead and read some of these comments because there are a ton here. And let's see what we see here. Eric says, wow. Let's see. Woohoo. Thanks for the leadership on TAD issues. You got it, Chris. Let's see. What's the address here? Let me get that address for you. I'm going to Google it real quick. Handley, let's see, Tarrant Appraisal District. I should have it memorized. It is 2500 Handley Ederville Rd. I'm going to share my screen so you can see what I'm seeing now. Share the screen. I'm going to go right over here. So 20 whatever hundred. Here we go. Boom. All right. So here's the address to the meeting. It is 2500 Handley Ederville Rd, Fort Worth, Texas, 76118, 10 a.m. Friday. Please help spread the word. Please help spread the word. I can't say that enough. Let the news media know. I know the media was incredibly generous, incredibly attentive. I have to thank Texas Scorecard. They were leading the charge. None of this would have come out if it weren't for the Texas Scorecard. Everybody needs to know that. They are right wing, but it doesn't matter. They will criticize a conservative just as much as a liberal, and it doesn't matter to them. They're about standing up for people. And guess what? Fort Worth Weekly is too. They're on the left side of the fence. It doesn't matter. We're all hands on deck on this thing. Both of those publications have been incredibly generous with their time and attention, recognizing the issues at hand, recognizing that whether it's a Republican or Democrat thing, it doesn't matter. It's a human thing and a citizen thing. So thank you to those guys. And Jess Harden at Star Telegram has been amazing. And then we've got a lot of other people here with every news station in town. We've got to get them all there. For some reason, I've talked to several of the news stations. A lot of people are out of town for some reason right now, and so I may end up having to ask people to email these news stations. The Star Telegram has given me a solid yes; they're going to be there. Jess Harden is on it like white on rice. But as far as channel 4, 5, 8, 11, 21, whatever, all those guys were there last time. We've got to get them there again this time. It's not the reporters are just gone out of town for vacation. I'm being dead serious. That's all it is. So we got to make sure that they get some replacement folks there. And I'm going to send them an email tonight before I go home. Oh, geez, it's late. All right. It's a great example. Let's see. What is this? It is such a great example of how strong we are if we work together. Amen, Suzanne. I tell you what, in the midst of so much ugliness, whenever I was standing out there at the appraisal district with that line of people, it was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen because we had people from every walk of life. It was like, you know, high income, low income, high status, low status, every color, every political view, every orientation or what. It was just incredible to see so many people there from so many different walks, and so for that I was very grateful. Wish it could have been surrounding something that wasn't quite so ugly, but whatever. Accountability is needed. You are right. Power in numbers, man. I'm gonna leave that one up here for a little bit. Kyle, thanks. He says, great work. Yes, we need accountability. That's what this is about, and that's what you guys are about. You are the ones that provide the accountability. I'm just the voice. So glad we made a difference. Yeah, what was this saying? So glad we made a difference. Now we need to start getting the word out to all the homeowners that they should be doing the exemption. The homestead exemption for sure. I think if that's what we're talking about, I'm going to go ahead and I will research our clients and look to see who has their homestead exemption and who doesn't, and send out reminders, because that's going to hit people hard. If you find out you don't have your homestead exemption, you can file 2 years in arrears and retroactively. Joey says, thank you. Yes, man, look at this. All work together. John, what is up, man? Hey, John, I owe you an update. I was working with my friends at the Northeast Democrat meeting. I want to show up and speak. John's been trying to help get me on there. The leaders there, they're having trouble finding me a place on the agenda, but one way or the other, I'd love to go and speak, and I cannot thank you enough for your efforts to get me on the agenda there. And, it's up to them. I know there's a lot of other priorities and that sort of thing, but anyway, so there's your update, John, if you're still watching. Angela Hall, you are always on my news feed, one of the biggest supporters I have. You're just awesome, Angela. This is good news. We will definitely contact the media. Can you post the agenda so we can send it out to the media? I'm actually going to send an email to the media tonight with both agendas. And then I've got to think a little bit about what I'm going to post on Facebook tomorrow, what I'm going to encourage people to do. I want to have a nice, healthy mix of optimism for this board, hope for this board, but at the same time, we can't let our foot off the gas, because I realize what works with this board. It's eyeballs, it's presence, it's voice. So the work isn't done. We've got to show up Friday in order for this thing to end well. Hopefully we don't have to. Look, the best thing that we can see happen is a quick resolution. That's the best thing. It's painful for all the people involved. I mean, look, I've had to fire a bunch of people, not a bunch, but a good number of people. It sucks. I don't care if the employee is lying and cheating and stealing. It sucks firing somebody, because that's somebody's life. And here's a situation where somebody may lose their job. I feel sadness just even saying those words out of my mouth, because I realize that it has massive implications. But here's the thing. There's something that goes above the emotion, and it's what's right. And sometimes you have to do the hard thing if that's the right thing. And including if I've done something wrong. Sometimes if I've done something wrong, I need to stand up. And I'll just tell you, I have read those complaints inside and out. I've had a bunch of attorneys and a whole bunch of people look at them. I did not make any violation at all. No violation whatsoever. Now, here's the thing. There are definitely some areas that I can improve on. Definitely. And some of these complaints revealed that. And so that's part of the whole process. If you do something wrong, you need to face the music and just always look to improve. Admit it, apologize, do the best you can to make it right, and seek to improve. And, we're all a work in progress. I'm going to leave room for that. All right. Thanks, Chandler, for all you do. As a first homeowner, you have been a blessing with me. Well, thank you, Kalilsa. You're awesome. All right, John, what are you saying, man? We need to make sure taxing entities that appoint TAD are behind Chandler. Several local elections happening this month. I am unaware of those elections, John. I know November. I didn't know about this month. Wow. I need to get that on my radar. What elected officials should we focus on in order to push influence at TAD? Good question. It's the big guys. The commissioner court is number one. I'll just show you this. I'm so glad you asked this question, because I came prepared to answer it in a very big way. And now this dadgum live stream is going to last forever. But let me show you this. Here's who elected our current board members. This is who, if you want to focus on somebody, this is who to focus on. Now, here's the other thing. I posted this. I linked to this, and I had all the elected officials. I had all their email addresses ready to rock, and you could just access them through. Check it out. I've got all these emails here. So I had every single politician. I have all their email addresses. My staff have many times gone through and verified these things as the elections happen. We got to keep constantly updating this list. My staff has done some incredible work poring over this and making sure that all those email addresses are as accurate as they can be. So thank you for that. In fact, I've even shared that contact list with the appraisal district to try and help make sure that they have the most accurate list possible, because I know my list was more accurate than theirs. Anyway, let's go back to this other thing. What was I going to show you? Okay. So I took down the email addresses. I'm telling you now what this says, but here's the thing I wanted to show you. All right. So for Rich Diot, he actually had to campaign a little bit and go around to these taxing entities and pick up votes. There are all these votes from these guys, and that's his total right there. J.R. Martinez got a massive amount from Fort Worth ISD. Let's see here. And then we've got a couple other from these guys. And so that was his total. Tony Pompa got, looks like, all of his votes from Arlington ISD. That doesn't seem right, but I guess it is. So Arlington ISD for Tony Pompa. And then Catherine Wildman, who is the chairman. She is the one that largely determines what goes on the agenda. With all the jockeying that's happened behind the scenes in the past 24 hours, I don't know if Wildman's on the good side or the bad side. I have no idea, but these are the folks that elected her. And so that's the total. And Jungus Jordan is a replacement. This is a whole nother level of scandal that happened, where there was there were two board members that asked to be recalled. And that's something that's never happened in the state of Texas ever before, from everything I could gather. And whenever that happened, Jungus Jordan was appointed by City of Fort Worth to fill the seat of the old, I think, chairman. I think it was Mike O'Donnell, I think. Anyway, whatever. So these are the entities. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter, because Diot serves the entire county. Martinez serves the entire county. And same for all these guys. So every single taxing entity has a hand in this. The bigger the taxing entity, the more votes they get. And that's kind of how it works. So Fort Worth ISD, the Fort Worth Commissioner Court, this Tarrant County, that's the Commissioner's Court. They have a big stake in this. Fort Worth ISD and City of Fort Worth are huge too. So there you go. Hope that answers the question. And I just get on this thing and talk. What's Flora say? You've been working on this for years. So proud of how far you've come. Well, thank you. And here's the thing, Flora, I couldn't have done what I've done if it weren't for everybody else that, way to go, Dad, from Jonah. Jonah, get off Facebook, boy, go to bed. Just kidding. That's so funny. All right, way to go. He was using my wife's login apparently. Way to go. Scary to see how little oversight they have. Man, for sure, Jason, that's one big point of this. How are we supposed to hold them accountable? We don't elect them. The people that elect them, these city officials largely don't know about this election, don't know how it works. The district attorney, I've heard, is investigating some matters. There's some possible oversight there. Here we go. John is listening. North Richland Hill special election, Bedford special election. Oh, that must be runoffs or something. All right. Thanks for the heads up on that, John. I appreciate it. I will. By the way, John was like the first guy in line along there, alongside some other just awesome people at the last board meeting. Man, appreciate you. Let's see. What people should we email at the board? All of them. So if you got the email, look, man, I've already sent this out, so there's no secret. I'm going to go ahead and post all their email addresses right here, right now. The cat's out of the bag, and there's no taking this one back. I did pull off the email addresses from hold on, I can't talk and do two things at once. Let's see. I did pull the email addresses from my website for the locally elected officials, but let me get this for you real quick. Let's see here. I'm going to post this in the chat. Here's all the people. It's going to take me 1 second. But yeah, I would email all of them. And look, even the board members that have responded in the way that is favorable and encouraging. I think that the only reason that they've done that is because you've paid attention. I can't say that. I don't know their motivation. I know that the ones that are fence sitters are on the wrong side. They would not be moving at all if it weren't for you guys. So anyway, I can't find that. I'm not here. Give me a second. Dadgum. This makes for a bad Facebook Live. I'll try and find it and I'll put it in the comments. So let me just get through some of these comments and then I'm going to bail out of this thing. Way to go. Good job. Thanks, man. You guys are amazing. Oh, that is the end of it. Thanks for the emails. You got it. Thank you. Man, you guys are awesome. All right. Give me just 2 seconds. I'm going to post these email addresses in the chat here. But I just can't say it enough. Please help spread the word. We got to get people there at 10 a.m. on Friday. Geez, I really can't do anything and talk at the same time. It's like a one-track mind here. But I'll just tell you what I'm doing. I'm clicking the buttons. I'm opening Gmail. I'm going to get the email addresses. And here we go. I'm copying email addresses, getting ready to paste them. And I will paste those here shortly. Bada bing, bada boom. Here's the thing. I don't mind putting this out in the public because these guys are elected, appointed. They're public people. And so they are folks that have signed up for this. And here's the thing. I want y'all to make sure you understand this. I'm not saying these are bad guys. I'm not saying that at all. The reason I'm just now releasing their email addresses is because I'm holding out hope. The only reason I released their email addresses is when they came out with that first agenda and it became obvious that they weren't going down the right path. I said, no. You guys need to let them know what you think about this. And that's it. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. Can't say thank you enough. Appreciate your support and spread the word. 10 a.m. Friday. Something's going to happen. It's going to be interesting. I have hope. And thank you so much for your support. You have a wonderful night. Over now.